On January 6, 1993, Robert Pastorelli of Murphy Brown was the guest on Later with Bob Costas. The interview is almost all about Murphy Brown and Pastorelli's pathway there. My favorite part is where he tells a story about actor Rod Steiger, who's, if you have not seen his interviews with Bob Costas, phenomenal. So this one's pretty good, and the Rod Steiger story's great.
Thanks for staying up later. Robert Pastorelli is with us, and my question, and I ask it on behalf of all Americans, how the hell long is it going to take Eldon to finish painting Murphy Brown's apartment? I mean, this is a work in progress now for 5 years.
Well, Bob, you got to understand that, you know, when I'm done finishing that apartment, when I'm finished painting it, I'll be on the unemployment line again. Now, would you want that? Would you want me to be on the unemployment line? If I don't get work again, you know, I don't think that'll happen, but gee. But I'm going to be there for a while.
The man has the soul of an artist, not of a house painter.
That's why he never ends. See, Eldon doesn't paint a wall. See, there's a vision there. See, he's a painter for all seasons is a good way to put it, I guess.
Paints a mural.
Yeah.
Not just a color, a mural.
Of course. See, he's an artist that ends up painting walls to, you know, keep beer in the refrigerator.
Which he's barely doing, right?
Which he's barely doing.
Although he didn't he sell that one mural for like $1 million? That's but right. He couldn't deal with the wealth.
He couldn't handle the money. He couldn't handle, not much unlike myself. You know, he was very, you know, he got very wild with the money. He gave it away. What was the episode? We gave it away to the homeless. He gave his money away to the homeless.
You see some similarities between this guy's personality and yours? Well,
yeah, some things. You know, you always learn like something a little more when you play a character. You learn some things about yourself. You know, I'm from the school of you don't become the character becomes you, which doesn't necessarily mean that you just play yourself, which I found people have said, just be yourself, which is the hardest thing to do, you know, especially when you have those days when you're not sure who you are, you know, and but learning, like there's things that I found in playing the character that, for instance, his patience, his tolerance. Since I've been playing that character, I myself in my life have become more tolerant of other people's, you know, character defects, character inadequacies at times, and
well, you know, your guy Eldon is different than almost anybody else on the show because all of them, at least the characters they play, are either famous people or they're dealing in the seemingly glamorous world of television.
Right.
So the viewers can look at this guy and say, he might be a little bit more like me.
Well, he's more the everyman, I imagine. I think that there are more, you know, house painters or more people that work in areas such as that than there are news anchors or investigative reporters or executives of networks, you know, so you know, there's a definite identification in that way.
The thing that further endeared you to the audience was the way you helped her through the pregnancy. Your character, he got all excited about it. He'd be talking to the baby in the womb. He went to the Lamaze classes. Sure. He got upset when things went wrong.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think that his take on it was the audience's take. I think it was through Eldon's eyes that the audience was connecting with that whole situation also, and yeah, everybody else was sort of upset. Some people are still upset, you know, but yeah, that was a definite factor, I think.
You know, it was an interesting thing to me. Colleen Dewhurst, who has since passed away, but played Murphy's mother, Candice Bergen's mother, she was quoted, and I hope it's true because it's a nice thing, she was quoted as saying, I have to get some scenes with that darling house painter.
Yeah. Yeah, that was incredible. I mean, Colleen Dewhurst has been like, it's an acting god as far as, you know, I was always concerned when I was coming up and studying, and I hadn't known that, and we sat down. I think at that time we were the only two on the set that smoked. I was still smoking then, and we sort of bonded. You know, we'd run out, and she says, did you know that they had asked me if I wanted, like, do I need a limousine? Do I need to rent a car? And she had opted to just do the show. She didn't see a tape of it or anything, because I'm not even sure if we had aired. No, we had already aired, of course. And she said that I said, no, all I want is a few scenes with that young man who plays the painter. And that just floored me, you know, that she wanted scenes with me. You know, that really, and so in all our scenes, I just I loved working with her so much.
Eldon, did I mention?
I find enlightening.
I read where you said growing up you wanted to be either a rock star, the middleweight champion of the world, or an actor.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure, well, that's right. Or a cross-country truck driver, you know?
That was choice 4?
Yeah, that was choice 4.
You could have gone to school like they advertise on late-night TV, learned to drive the big rigs.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but I thought that would be nice, but, yeah, boxing hurt, you know? That, I had a few amateur bouts and things like that, and I always loved, you know, Ali and all that, but yeah, I think after the first time I got knocked out, I said, this isn't for me. And, you know, everybody gets an electric guitar for Christmas, but not everybody becomes Eric Clapton, you know. So, yeah, acting, I kind of always had that itch about acting. I always just loved, I remember sitting and watching old movies when I was little, and, you know, that's where I had that respect for, like, Rod Steiger and stuff. I remember first seeing things, I remember, like, my first love as an actor was James Cagney. I always loved Cagney, but he always looked like he was working, too, you know? It was always that energy. Then I remember the first time seeing, like, Marlon Brando, and I went, wait a minute, no, that's it. It's not acting. He's not acting. He's just being himself. That's the key. And then the first time I remember ever getting a script in my hand, realizing how very hard, how extremely hard it is to look like you're not acting, how to just be natural. That's it, just be natural, be yourself. And it's just, you know, you just, you know, when you're saying someone else's words, it's incredible. You realize how great they were, you know, when you really get in yourself. And it's like anything that looks easy. Anyone who can make something look easy, whether it's, no matter what it is, you know, how really great they are.
Back with Robert Pastorelli. A lot of people might not have recognized you in Dances with Wolves.
Yeah.
What with all the garb you had on, and the
right,
scruffy appearance.
Yeah. Well, you know what was nice? It was funny because when I went in for that part, I remember telling my agent, well, you know, there's this film, this Western. I thought, me in a Western? No one had ever called on me to play anything like that, or I'd never, you know, when it comes down, when the breakdown comes, like it's going to be a Civil War piece or something, I usually don't think of me, you know, and they says you can go to the studio to read the script, but you can't take the script off the lot. And so there was very hush-hush thing, and so I went, and I figured, well, I'll just skip through. They wanted me to read for one of the soldiers at the end of the film. Mm-hmm. You know, so
where they have the scene with the fight with the Indians at the end.
When they're, you know, they have captured the character of Lieutenant Dunbar that Kevin played. But you know, usually I'll just breeze through a script, see my part, you know, and a lot of actors do that. They'll say that they don't, but
that they read the whole script.
Yeah, I read the script. Yeah, you just go through what page is my scenes on, you know. But I started reading it, and I read through the whole script. It was that good a script. And I hate to say, you know, as we get a little jaded in Hollywood, I thought, well, this is a wonderful script. How will they screw it up? You know, how are they going to mess up this beautiful piece of work? And then someone said, well, you know who's directing it, don't you? And I said, no, who's directing? I didn't know. And they said, Kevin. I said, Kevin Costner? I said, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's never directed anything before. Don't you think this is a bit ambitious? Maybe it would be a little, like, in-house drama he might want to first try to direct to get his feet wet, but he sure proved them all wrong, didn't he? He sure did. He really, really. But what I wanted to get to was when I said that I was interested in the part of Timmons, they said, well, we're only seeing actors that are from like 65 to 75 years old. They had this grizzly old, you know, guy in mind. And
Let me jump in here for a second, just to refresh your memory. Timmons is the guy who leads Lieutenant Dunbar out to this outpost in the wilderness. This really disgusting
the mule train
guy.
Yeah,
who eventually gets killed by the
Indians. Yeah. But so anyhow, I says, I want to read for this part of Timmins, and they says, well, no, we're seeing older actors. And I said, well, okay, good luck and thank you. And I was on my way out, and they said, well, would you like to come back and read with Kevin? And I said, well, of course. Thought that's what we're talking about here. So, and it was funny because you go through a lot of different casting processes when you're up for parts in films and things. You have a lot of callbacks back and forth, but it was just one time with he and I. There was just a chemistry that both. It was great because the director was also your acting partner in this movie. He's also the director, so we just worked these different things out and, you know, improvised around the lines a lot. It was nice, a real pleasant experience.
You know what I liked was the way you played the death scene. It wasn't the standard, you know, grab my heart and down I go. The way you played it was different than other scenes like that.
Yeah, well, it was, you know what I thought in my mind was like, it was a long scene, that scene, and I thought it was like an animal, you know, really, because when we get down to it, we are animals.
And he was closer to it to begin with than most of us.
Yeah, he was pretty
base.
Good. Yeah, and I just thought of it as that, and at first he's hit and he crawls and he just gets weaker and weaker and weaker as it goes, and
he talks to himself a little bit.
Yeah, just look. It was just one line he threw in. I think I threw in was, "Look at me," you know, "Look at me now." Something you might say, and I thought, you know, and it's funny because you got someone over you with a camera here, and they go, "Say this," say, you go, no, that's not good, no, that's not good. I remember one thing, Kevin. I remember, and I would love to take credit for it because people say it was good. Was don't hurt my mules, and it was Kevin said, "Say don't hurt my mules," and I says, "No, I don't know if he would say that," you know, and then he says, "No, yeah, maybe he would." So he says, "Well, say it a few times. We'll use it. If we don't, if it doesn't work, we won't use it." Please don't hurt my mule. But that was real strange. They say actors have a twisted sense of reality. We were doing that scene that was about 6 a.m. in the morning. The sun had just come up, and we were finishing that scene. And so I'm getting shot with arrows. I'm spitting blood. I'm dying on the plains in the 1800s. And at 4 o'clock that afternoon, I'm in Los Angeles in a tuxedo, and I'm at the Emmys. You know? So people said, "How'd you spend your morning?" Well, you know, I just got killed by the Indians, but...
kind of a full day.
Yeah, it was a full day.
It's an irony no matter how you slice it, but maybe more so for you because you're a real student of the history of your craft, right? The first time I met you, I bumped into at a Little Richard concert.
Right.
And the first thing you mentioned was having seen Rod Steiger on this show.
Love Rod
and how
Steiger.
as a fellow actor, you had been into his work for a long time, and then you were very interested to see the way he explained it and how emotional he got.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was an amazing guest. You went 2 segments, I think you did. Yeah. He's got, you know, he left me a message on my answering machine that was, you know, this was a wild story because I had called there's down where I live, I have this, you know, video store where I go rent and buy videos, and he did probably the best Al Capone that had ever been done. If Al Capone would have seen Steiger's Capone, he would have been acting like Steiger, Al Capone. And the people they had it there for rent, and I wanted to buy it, and they said they would order it, and they would call me when they had gotten it in. And they called me, and I went down the hill, and I picked it up, and I came back, and there was one message on my machine, and I hit the scene, and I have Rod Steiger's Capone in my hand, and it's Rod Steiger. "Hello, Mr. Pastorelli. This is Rod Steiger. I got your message that you enjoyed my work. I enjoyed you in Dances with Wolves. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving." And it was just, it was tremendous. And now there's no one here to witness this, so I'm sort of running around in my kitchen wishing there was someone I could share this with. I have the tape in my hand and Rod Steiger on my answering machine. You know, it was something, man. But I always loved Rod Steiger's work.
You had a fearsome accident when you were a kid, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, on my 19th birthday. That, yeah, that was a big turnaround for me there, because I had gotten, like, my last rites and things like that. Had a near-death experience, you know, and actually, you know, left my body. So I watched myself receive my last rites, which is kind of scary, but it's a very peaceful sort of thing.
Let's go through this step by step. First of all, were you drunk?
Yeah. Was I drunk? Nah. It was my birthday. But I wasn't drunk. Maybe I was going somewhere to get drunk, you know.
Because you were a hellraiser as a kid, no question, right?
Sure.
Arrested a few times?
Yeah, I did all that, yeah.
So now
yeah, more than a few times. But anyway, well, you know, this is how it was when I was a kid. First off, there was my birthday is June 21st. So sometimes it would be my birthday, the first day of summer, and the last day of school, all in one day. Now, that's a lot to swallow when you're... I mean, they had to sedate me.
That would overwhelm me, I'll tell you that.
They had to sedate me, you know, and so... but anyhow, yeah, I remember I had my sister's GTO, and I rolled it over a few times on this highway.
You're by yourself?
Yeah, thank God I was by myself. But, and, you know, in the back of my head, I always thought about, like, this, how this all tied into after that accident, after I had survived that accident, was when I went right into New York City and got into an acting class, because that was what I always wanted to do, but it was something I thought was unattainable. And everything that I thought was very important up to that point, after you survive and you come out on the other side of something like that, you realize really isn't that important. Things that we've been conditioned to believe, you know, such as making sure you have a good pension plan and a house with I mean, not that those things aren't important, they are, but they're not the most important thing.
So they administered the last rites?
Uh-huh.
How serious, obviously serious enough for that to happen. How long were you in the hospital?
I was in the hospital for that whole summer.
Really?
That whole summer,
With
yeah.
what sort of injuries?
All my ribs were broken, my lungs were punctured, my kidney was pushed up. It was a mess. I was a mess. Lacerations.
Describe what it was like. You said it was an out-of-body experience. What was it like? You're watching the last rites being administered to you.
It was probably the most peaceful. I remember being in a lot of pain, and then there was no pain at all. Now, I didn't get to the white light, so I didn't see, like, my Uncle Carmen going, "Go back, go back, don't look in the light, stupid." You know, I didn't get nothing like that. But
you're pretty sure that if and when that happens, it's Uncle Carmen who gets that assignment?
I'm sure Uncle Carmen better be there to greet me. Yeah. And I just remember that it was I could have went like either way, but I saw my father in the room, in the emergency room, and he started to faint. And the priest said, "Is your son a Catholic?" He said, "Yes, he is." And he started to faint. Two nurses held him up and sat him in a chair. And I witnessed all that, and because there was a time when it could have been easy to just let myself not fight and just release, because it's a very peaceful feeling, a very, very warm and peaceful feeling. But it was when I saw that, it was somewhere in there a decision was made to fight. And because then I woke up in the emergency, and in the recovery room, I remember seeing a lot of white.
Coming up next spring, the movie Three Rivers, in which Robert Pastorelli appears along with Bruce Willis. And of course, you can see him Monday nights on CBS, still painting Murphy Brown's house. Thanks a lot.
Hey, thanks.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
See you later.
Thank you for watching Cleveland Live Music. If you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. There's further patronage information in the video descriptions below. Thanks for all the support and making the channel grow.